my god, it's 9/11. They made an anime about 9/11. Oh god, how am I gonna review this? Well, it has been 13 years and they've made a couple 100 movies about it. Maybe it's okay now. Wait, but if I like it, people are gonna think I'm a terrorist. And terrorists are bad! Wait, but on the other hand... Zankyou No Terror, or Terror in Resonance, was directed in 2014 by Shinichiro Watanabe, the same guy behind Cowboy Bebop, Kids on the Slope, Space Dandy, and Samurai Champloo. So the question on everyone's mind is, does it hold up to the rest of his catalog? Also, why is this show? Just why? Our story opens in Japan in a remote nuclear testing facility wherein plutonium has been stolen, and a mysterious message left behind in the thief's wake reading only Bond. Fast forward 6 months and a cryptic duo cosplaying as Rey Mysterio release a video on the internet claiming to be a terrorist organization known as Sphinx. And they end the message by saying that at 3 p.m. that day, Tokyo will be enveloped in darkness. Spooky. A detective by the name of Shibazaki does see the video, but he dismisses it because it's f***ing YouTube. Jump over to a random Tokyo high school and we find a girl named Lisa getting bullied because high school. When out of nowhere, a mysterious boy who totally isn't a part of Sphinx shows up and saves the day by getting everyone all wet. Fast forward once more, and right before 3 p.m., a power line snaps outside the Tokyo government office building, causing everyone to evacuate. Everyone, that is, except for Lisa, who happens to be in the office building at the same time, but is much too busy trying to vomit away her problems to worry about silly things like power outages. Meanwhile, it turns out that Lisa isn't the only person left in the building, and we follow these two, 9 and 12, two high school students trying to distribute adorably explosive plushies around the building, until 12 abruptly runs into Lisa. Realizing that he was the same boy who had tried to help her earlier, Lisa is understandably confused when he hands her a Bombi baby and decides to roll out. He informs 9 of the situation, which prompts him to give Lisa a call, and tell her that if she wants to live, she needs to plant the last bomb and join the cause. Lisa, suddenly less suicidally depressed than she was just moments earlier, agrees, and together the trio blows the top half of that building directly to shit before leaving. Back to the police station, the only competent detective, Shibazaki, begins piecing together the attack with the YouTube videos, thus entering into a not really deadly game of cat and mouse with 2 high school students. And that is where our story begins. When it comes to animation, the show holds up pretty well next to the rest of Watanabe's work. The explosions are expertly done, and both the world and character design create some of the best atmosphere that I have seen in an anime since Kids on the Slope. The world gives off a sinister feeling and sensation of near dystopia without explicitly stating either one, and that is due not to dilapidated buildings or a city in ruin, but instead to how few characters they focus on and the art style. The only issue that I even had with the animation was the sometimes CG helicopters and vehicles, and even that is done with some subtlety and is never really thrown in your face. As for audio, we have Yoko Kanno on the soundtrack, the same artist behind most of Watanabe's other work, and as usual, she hits it out of the park. The atmospheric feeling behind the animation was only heightened by the audio, and the two really come together to immerse the audience in a world that feels almost real at times. As for the rest of the audio, there's really nothing negative I can say. All the voice actors were on the ball, as were the effects team, so as usual, good job. But great animation and amazing audio alone does not a great show make, so we move on to the characters and the plot. As far as characters go, we have 9, 12, Lisa, and Shibazaki, along with a few other auxiliary characters. And this lady who, for the sake of spoiler prevention, we'll just call V. Now, while none of these characters are particularly compelling or relatable outside of maybe Shibazaki, my real issue lies with V. She shows up at about the halfway point of the series, and in my opinion, is almost entirely wasted. As always, I won't go into spoilers, but suffice it to say that her plot resolution was incredibly lacking and made almost no sense. Not to mention that her character design really didn't fit the show at all, and in some ways I kind of feel like her voice actor missed the mark. Particularly when trying to speak English. Now before I really get into that, I can understand having an accent or not being completely fluent in the language. But in this show there were long stretches of time where I could barely understand anything she said, and for a character who supposedly works so closely with English speaking people for a presumably long period of time, you would think she could speak it a little bit better. Now when it comes to the plot, I actually think it was pretty solid overall, but the inclusion of V and lack of some character development did cause it to suffer. And some of the more poignant scenes could have hit so much harder if only they would have taken the time to make the viewer care about what was going on. The reasoning behind 9 and 12's actions and their cat and mouse game with the police was, for me, the crown jewel of this entire series. But the characters involved really did detract from what could have been a much better story, and for me, caused it to lose some points. Also, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the reason I enjoyed the plot in the first place wasn't because it was original or innovative, it's because it wasn't. With that being said, I do like how the show managed to stay on course with the plot while slowly incorporating aspects of other genres. Some episodes came off like a mystery thriller, while others looked more like a procedural or even a straight-up action movie. That style of directing, creating homages while still attempting to be completely original, is very much in Watanabe's wheelhouse. And it really manages to surpass expectations in this show, albeit in a more subtle way than maybe Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. So when we add everything up, where does that leave Zankyou No Terror? While the animation and sound did surpass expectations, the rest of the show it didn't draw me in, it didn't make me care about the characters or the plot, and that is damn disappointing considering how well the rest of it was produced. Which leaves me awarding Zankyou No Terror an overall score of 6.6 out of 10. It was a well-produced show, but the writing, it just wasn't up to par. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and check out the annotations below to see some of my other reviews. Have a good one.